All right, guys, so today we're talking about Porsche owners and common mistakes that they make. These are also common mistakes on a lot of other cars also. We'll go over just a few of those today in this video. So through the years, I've owned about 10 or 11 911s. I've owned another Cayman, a black Cayman, and then this red Cayman. So one mistake I see on a lot of these cars, the first thing is how people clean them. So a lot of guys use a wash mitt like this, which that's totally fine. Now, you gotta be very careful how you use it. I don't know if you probably can't see on this camera, but you can see on this car, there's really light swirls in it. Essentially very light scratches. And what that's from is from people not cleaning the car right. So let's say you go to the car wash or you're washing your house, however you clean your car. The first thing you have to do before you could use the mitt, you have to clean all the debris off of it. Like, see, this car has a little bit of dirt here, couple little things, right? If you rub this mitt over it, when that's on there, you're going to scratch the car. You're going to scratch the clear coat. On the black Porsches, they have a real problem with the clear coat being very soft, and you can see every little scratch. In fact, the black one I used to have, every time I wash it, I would have to go through a Swirl-X with the buffer and Swirl-X the whole entire car to take the scratches out. Now, in recent times, they have ceramic coating. This car is ceramic coated. So in theory, like all these bugs on the front of here, this car has not been washed since last time I drove it. Those will spray right off, right? There should be no problem at all. The theory behind a ceramic coating, so you don't have to use the mitt. Once you're touching the paint, you gotta be very careful of it. That's a really common thing. Now, this is gonna piss a lot of you off. The next one is tires. These cars don't have a spare tire, right? They don't. Okay. A lot of people want to put run flats back on it so you don't have a flat tire, right? Well, the problem is run flats ride very rough. Very, very rough. Or a lot of people running those stupid, those Michelin Pilot Super Sport Cup 2 or Cup whatever the hell. Those tires are okay if you're on dry pavement. You live in California, you're in the canyons, it never rains, that's a good tire. I've had those tires on a lot of cars. You get caught out in a rainstorm, you will die with those, especially on a Porsche and no weight in the front. That's hydroplane city, right? Are you really tracking your car where you need those tires? The answer 99% of the time is no, you're not. And if you have a nice Porsche, why would you go track it and take a chance on wadding it up, right? This car has these Continental, I don't know what they are, some junk or another, Extreme Contact Continental. I've had these on a bunch of Audis and stuff that are all-wheel drive. Those will be bald no time at all. Those don't hold up at all. And they ride very rough. That makes this car ride very rough, right? So if you get to be an old man like me, you don't always want something that rides like it doesn't have suspension on it. That's kind of the way this thing rides. Having these cars before, I do know that the kind of tires you put on it greatly depends on how the car responds and rides. If you put a little bit softer tire on it, you know, we run a lot of those Iwatsu Falcon Extreme Contact or something along that range. You compromise with that. It has a little softer sidewall, so you sacrifice this much handling for that much more comfort, right? Massive amount more comfort. And the car doesn't beat you to death. It's not hard on the car. It's not hard on the suspension and all that kind of thing. If you hit a bump, you know, it doesn't jar your bones. It makes it overall a better riding car. Now, if you have the active suspension on your Cayman, which the last one I had it, this one does not, you have a little more adjustment with it. That means you control the ride sensitivity with a button on the dash there. Not a lot of them have that, unfortunately. So you have to look at that also. And this one wasn't really in the books, but to do in this video, but I just thought about this. A lot of the Porsche guys don't clean your headlights. This car, the headlights are a little bit hazy. You probably can't see on camera too good. You see a little bit. See? You see all these Porsches driving around and the headlights are all yellow and hazy. Why is that? It doesn't cost anything to clean the headlights. You can buy a little Meguiar's kit for 20 bucks. You do it once or twice a year. If you leave it inside, you do it once every few years. They look like brand new. This car needs to have that done. Just haven't got around to it yet. That's more of a pet peeve of mine than anything. The next thing is, cosmetic-wise, you got to keep this thing inside. If you leave this car outside, especially a bright color, it's going to fade. And you can see the ever so slight fading on this car from sitting out in the sun. Now, granted, these cars usually don't have a whole lot of problem with all the seals rotting like BMWs and other brands do. But still, it's not good for it at all. The carpet in the hatch is a little bit faded. The engine cover carpet. If you don't have a garage to keep stuff in, I tell people this with any car, any nice car, if you leave it outside, especially here in the Midwest, the weather will ruin that car. The M5 was the same way. The guy left it sitting outside. We had to do all kinds of repainting on it to get all that fixed. Had to custom mix the paint, as we're going to have to do on this to repaint the mirror, right? If you leave anything outside, extreme hot, extreme cold, extreme sun, extreme rain, you're going to have all kinds of issues, no matter what it is. Rodents, all kinds of things like that. The next thing with this car is the clear bra. And you guys see in my previous video, these have clear bra on them. The mirrors had clear bra on them. And I started taking this one off and it took the paint off. So we're going to have to get the mirrors repainted. This mirror still has it on there. You might think you're doing good with the clear bra. It's in the shadow. I don't know if you can see it or not. There you go. You can see the line of the clear bra. Once that sits on there for a while, there is no getting that off. It doesn't matter if it's Expel. It doesn't matter if it's 3M, clear bra. Doesn't matter. You leave her sit in the sun or get some age on it, and that stuff gets brittle, you're looking at a repaint. No matter of steamer, no matter of heat gun, no matter of any kind of spray is going to take it off without ruining the clear coat on the car. It's just the way it is, right? Do not clear bra. If you're driving in a dust storm 24 hours a day, if you're driving up north, you see a lot of this in New York. The windshields are all pitted up. The cars are just thrash. Don't drive that car in the winter. Don't drive that car. If you live in that kind of place, don't buy these cars, right? You're going to end up with a 911 or a Cayman or whatever you're driving that's destroyed. And once you get to that point, the car isn't worth near as much. You're going to lose your ass on the resale. Somebody has to go through and repaint it. Somebody has to deal with all of that. The next thing is on the lift. It's kind of hard to get into. Next thing is the interior. Put the leather treatment on the seats, right? Do that kind of stuff. Clean the interior. If you just let this go, that seat will look like hell in no time, especially if you have the peanut butter interior or the light tan interior. That stuff is impossible to keep up anyway, and sun really fades that. Even you black interior guys like this car is pretty much perfect interior-wise. You know, carbon fiber console, the whole works. If you're into that kind of stuff, there's really no scratches on anything. There's nothing tore up. There's no issues at all. And some of these Caymans, some of these 911s actually had headliner problems falling down. You let them out in the sun and the heat, like any car would have, right? So this one actually had that, and he got it professionally repaired. Okay, so the next one is not cosmetic. The next one is mechanical. These cars, like any other car, take mechanical care. Not just some dude at some shop somewhere putting parts on for you. That's not what you need. You need somebody to actually look over it closely. I want to show you a few things on this car that kind of got out of hand pretty quickly. Okay, the first thing is the brakes. These cars have Brembo's on them. He replaced the previous owner replaced the rear brake pads. But looking at it, I'm like, what the hell? I've driven this car enough, it shouldn't have any rust in there. What the hell's going on here? It looks weird, right? The disc looks funky. We still got almost full pad. And then you come right here and look. You're like, oh, all the holes are stopped up in the rotor. That's cute. That's real cute. Oh, this side too? Oh, okay. Well, that's what we call extremely crappy pads. How it works, the brake pads on these car, any car, you guys know I've been in this game a long ass time. This is not my first rodeo. You can run ceramic pads and they're going to squeal when you use them. They're going to squeal when they're cold. You can use organic pads. They're going to dust out your wheels. They're going to turn your wheels all black. We've had cars come in. The whole inner fender well was all black of brake dust by using cheap pads. A lot of those track pads are real soft pads. That could be what this is. I didn't even look. I don't even care. I know what has to be done. All the brakes have to be changed over to ceramics. I don't play that dusty wheel stuff. We don't play that at all. That's hard on the whole car when you do that too. So that's one thing. The next thing is, we see this one a lot too. Supposedly we had the coil packs replaced. The coil packs, this one are right there. Looking through it, well, the middle one's been replaced, but the other two are not. They're factory. All of them over here are all factory. So we replaced one coil pack. And it looks to be possibly Chinese when there's no brand name on it. That's Telltale Chinese. It looks kind of like a German coil pack, but there's no brand name. So we all know the story. There's no brand name. We all know what that means. You can't do that. This car is 120K on it. So it's had a bad coil pack, right? If you only replace one of them, what's going to happen? You're going to be driving it. Weeks or a month later, another one will go out. It'll start misfiring. You'll be out of the misfiring. You replace that one. Another one will go out a few weeks later. It makes the car unreliable, undrivable. It makes it a nightmare. So be warned of Chinese parts, for one, not changing all the appropriate parts. This car has a bad outer tie rod. Oh, was this one or this one? I think it was this one. It's hard to show you on this. A lot of people will only buy one tie rod. Why in the hell would you only buy one tie rod? You see it all the time on cars coming through here. Buy a set. If one tie rod's bad, the other one's not going to last very much longer. It's going to be on its way out also. Sway bar links the same way. Should never replace one sway bar link or one control arm. If you crash this car into a curb and you ruin a control arm, the car's got 120K on it. If you go replace one control arm, you're an asshole. You're being an asshole. Replace them both. You know it's good. You know you're good to go, right? That's one thing. That's one other thing. One additional thing. And I understand a lot of people maybe can't afford a pair, but you have to go out of your way to only buy one of something, like one ball joint. You have to pretty much buy two. So you're going to buy two, put one on, throw the other one in the trash. I never understood that. That's a very common thing on all cars that we see. The next thing on this is mods, as far as power mods. Now, most of these Caymans and 911s had issue with the catalytic converter. This is up for the next video. They had problems with the primary cat, which is right there. These are getting stopped up. They're breaking down. They've got the white concrete looking stuff on them. They need to either be hollowed out or replaced. Well, this car came with headers, right? So we're putting headers on it. But coming up in the next video, we'll show you, we had some bolts break off in the cylinder head. So the last thing you want to do, though, even knowing these cars very well, knowing that was a possibility, we couldn't leave those on there. Because what's going to happen, I already put the O2 sensor back in so you can't see it, but the side that was more stopped up was burning very white on the oxygen sensor. And the car was throwing at random. Efficiency low, catalytic converter efficiency low. That's telltale sign it can't flow very good. When you drove the car, you could tell by the throttle response something funky was going on, right? People that own these cars and don't address issues like that, and they'll take a scanner with them, reset it. They'll drive the car for 5 more years and just reset it every day, right? I did that the first few days of driving. It's just so I could drive it a little bit. And after that, it's like, okay, I'm not down with this anymore. This has got to be fixed and fixed correctly. So that's another thing, not doing stuff when you're supposed to, not doing the air filter. This car had the wrong transmission fluid in it, had gear oil in the transmission fluid in the transaxle, all this bizarre stuff. I have not pulled out the engine air filter. I'm sure it's just a big block of dirt, or maybe even a Chinese one. I don't really know. One thing I can assure you, we're going to find out. Overall, these are not difficult cars to work on. This is above and beyond tremendously easier than that car to work on. Not easier than that. As far as German cars go, Porsches are some of the easiest ones to work on, no doubt. They have a pretty good build quality. On this car, if you have a lift, nothing's hard to get to. Everything's pretty simple. But that's a lot of the common mistakes Porsche owners make. Another one I'll throw in here at the very end is trying to drive it like a race car, right? It's not a GT3 RS. It's not a cup car. Stop trying to drive it like something it's not. You're going to crash, right? The M5 will throw you in a corner at excessive rate of speed that you can't make it around. This will do it, but you're going to be going a lot faster when you crash. You're probably not going to live to tell about it. That's going to be it, guys. Not a bitch session, but more of a pet peeve session. And we see this a lot. These are very, very common issues. That's going to be it, guys. Thanks for watching. Be back very soon with another video. We'll see you later.